Over a decade after the Commonwealth Games, Delhi is once again spruced up. Zebra crossings have got a fresh coat of paint and dust-coated trees have been showered with water. Street art depicting culture of the country has also come up on walls and metro pillars. The weather too is slowly turning pleasant, with some nip in the air, giving a perfect setting for the G20 Summit which India is heading this time around. Leaders of 20 countries will on September 9th and 10th brainstorm on a range of issues to make the world a better place. Over 100 meetings across 50 cities have already taken place in the lead up to the Leaders Summit. But arriving at a consensus in an increasingly polarized world will be tough. All the ministerial meetings held in the run-up to the upcoming leaders' meet failed to come out with a joint communique. Countries couldn't agree on binding action, largely due to objections to the language on the ongoing Russia-Ukraine war. So brokering a tangible multilateral outcome will be a challenge before the grouping and the host India, which is trying to showcase itself as the voice of Global South. The B20 Summit, G20's official dialogue forum with the global business community held on 25th and 27th August, focused on the financial challenges of the future. These included cryptocurrencies and debt distress, among other issues. And on Tuesday, Finance Minister Nirmala Sitharaman said that discussions were underway on a global framework to regulate crypto assets and that cryptocurrencies could not be regulated efficiently without the cooperation of all countries.
The framework to regulate crypto assets. There is a synthesis note that has been prepared by FSB and IMF. FSB is the Financial Stability Board, which is looking at a overall regulatory framework for crypto assets. So far, we had only one report by FSB, which was launched in July. And that report was it did not address some of the key concerns that India has. India is pushing very actively for debt restructuring of vulnerable nations. And here also there is a need to form consensus. There has been a big stumbling block when it comes to getting on board China. There is also the case for MDB reforms, for which one report has been filed by the expert group chaired by Larry Summers.
Another major agenda India has been pushing was to find a solution to climate change. The G20 Energy Transitions Working Group meeting held in Goa between July 19th to 22nd saw participants share their views that the energy transition pathway should be different for each country depending on their energy base and potential. But in a big achievement for India, 19 countries agreed to join its initiative of a global biofuel alliance to expand the deployment of biofuels as a low-carbon pathway. So what's in store for India's push for a global biofuel alliance and the larger climate financing goals?
Energy transition is one of the key themes under India's G20 presidency. Climate action, efforts for global energy transition, reduction in fossil fuels, and also clean energy deployments. It is expected that Prime Minister Narendra Modi would announce the Global Biofuel Alliance during the Leaders Summit. And we are expecting wide participation from not just G20, but non-G20 countries as well. This would be the third alliance that India would be spearheading after the International Solar Alliance and the Coalition for Disaster Resilience Infrastructure. Through these alliances and taking a leadership position on energy transition and climate action, we are expecting that India would be one of the most aggressive voices during the upcoming COP28 and would be voicing the concerns of the Global South. In the outcome statement from the Energy Transition Ministerial, there were two key major announcements. One was the G20 nations agreed to tripling the renewable energy deployment, and the second was doubling the energy efficiency across these countries. The G20 nations, though, agreed for phasing down the unabated fossil fuels. There was not a clear trajectory in terms of the targets or technologies.
Sensing changing global order, India has taken a step forward by announcing support to the African Union for a permanent G20 membership. Meanwhile, the Russia-Ukraine war remains an elephant in the room. Russian ambassador to India, Denis Alipov, recently said that the West should be prepared to change the paragraphs on the Ukraine conflict, including in the Bali Declaration, if they want a joint statement at the G20 Summit. So how will the geopolitical agendas set by India see the light of the day given the hostility between a few member nations?
India's proposal to include African Union as a member is pretty significant because of India's whole focus on the global south and making G20 a more inclusive platform. Next growth is expected to come from Africa, and India is also planning to have a free trade agreement with Africa and Union in future. The second thing is the language over the Ukraine-Russia war. Ukraine-Russia war is the elephant in the room. Whether India will be able to deliver a joint communique during its G20 presidency. If it doesn't, then this will be the first time that during any G20 presidency in last several years that there will not be a joint communique.
The various meetings held under the G20 umbrella have given India a stage to project itself as a growing power of the global south. It remains to be seen if India can achieve consensus in this polarized grouping.
If you like this video, share it and subscribe to Business Standard. For more news, views and insights, log on to www.business-standard.com. Do also follow us on YouTube, Twitter, Facebook, Instagram, Telegram and LinkedIn.
She has ambitions of becoming a brand. Business Standard.